New Jersey has been one of the hardest hit states in the country by COVID-19, but the trends have been much more positive for the Garden State in the past 2 weeks. And now Governor Phil Murphy made an announcement that's going to make a lot of people very happy for Memorial Day weekend, and that is that the beaches will be open with some restrictions. And the governor joins me now. Governor Murphy, thank you very much for being here tonight. Do you have concerns about opening those beaches? Everybody's going to be very excited to get out there, and you could see some crowds.
Yeah, we could. Martha, good to be with you. We announced this today. We announced it with the freeholder and mayor from Cape May County, importantly a Republican, so we made a bipartisan statement today. We're going to try to limit intelligently capacities and social distancing, but leave it to the communities themselves to actually do the on-the-ground management of that. Folks want to let off steam. Okay. Our curves are going in the right direction. We're not out of the woods yet. We opened our parks. This is another big step, and God willing, New Jersey's been extraordinary complying with all these policies, and I fully expect folks will continue to do so.
So, as you know, I'm from New Jersey. I've lived here most of my life, and a lot of people asked me to ask you this question. We were all asked, as people were across the country, to flatten the curve, to make sure that the hospitals were not overrun. This is exactly how you presented it yourself. That was the purpose. We were never told that we would have to stay at home or in any form of lockdown until there was a vaccine, which could be quite a long time. So, what do you say to people who say that was not the deal?
Yeah, we've never said you got to stay home till there's a vaccine. And I wish there was a vaccine tomorrow, as I'm sure you do as well. No, I will say this. Our curves have gotten meaningfully better. Less hospitalizations, less ICU beds, ventilators. The reproduction of the virus is way down in New Jersey, no question. But we are still the #1 state in America per capita of positive tests, hospitalizations, fatalities. Yeah. So it's a balancing act. As I mentioned, we open up parks, beaches on Memorial Day. We've loosened up construction, curbside pickup from non-essential retail. We're going to do something on elective surgeries in the next couple of days, pool protocols, charter boats. We're trying slowly, responsibly, one step at a time to get the place reopened.
Obviously, one of the reasons for that is the economic hit, which has been enormous. The state's lost $3.5 billion. More than 1 million people, as a result of these lockdowns, are now out of work in New Jersey. So, was this too much? Was it too draconian to put us in such a tough financial position now?
Martha, I resoundingly would say no, and that does not mean that I don't appreciate the enormity of the economic hit, the unemployed, the small businesses, because it has been, without question, historical. But we believe completely public health creates economic health. And if you transpose those, or if you jump the gun, not only will we have an ongoing public health challenge, we'll have an even bigger economic crisis. It's why we need federal help to direct cash into states. It's not to manage our legacy issues. It's to manage the actual health crisis that we're all going through. So, no, it's an enormous economic price. There's no question about that. But it's the
I think
only
a lot
option
of taxpayers want to make sure that money does not go to fix other financial problems that have existed for a long time in New Jersey or in any other state. And that's going to be an enormous managerial job for them to keep track of. I've spent a lot of time talking about this nursing home issue, and more than 50% of the deaths in the state of New Jersey have tragically come from these nursing homes. This is a family that I spoke to the other night from the Paramus Veterans Home. This is the wife and the son of Korean War veteran Arnold Haber, who died at age 91 at that home. Here's what they told me, Governor.
I think that when they started getting sick, when the virus was going through, they should have really taken the healthier soldiers out and put them in a hotel instead of leaving them in the room with somebody that had the virus. And this is how it spread like crazy.
So this is an awful situation, and she asks, I think, a really valid question. Why 2 months ago, why didn't the state of New Jersey start moving these individuals into other places, hotels, the Comfort, the Javits Center, where we had access to beds?
Listen, the tragedy within the tragedy, Martha, is long-term care, and there's no bigger tragedy than our blessed veterans. And I don't know this particular situation of her husband, but God rest his soul. These folks deserve a much more noble and humane end to their final years. We've got a full team. Secretary Wilkie, I want to give him a big shout out. At my request, has sent now for over a month a team from the VA to go in and help us not just plus up staffing, but help us manage. We've got 3 big veterans homes. 2 of the 3, Paramus being one, have been crushed.
But Governor, if I may,
and this is not unique to New Jersey.
You know, no, it's not. But you're talking about things that are happening now or even a few weeks ago. This started over 2 months ago, this problem. And this is a state-run facility. The state of New Jersey has responsibility for this facility. So not what are you doing now, but what were you doing back then? You know, we all knew these homes were the most vulnerable places in the country. So why wasn't testing and help surge to them right in the very beginning, sir?
You got to remember, Martha, as a country, we started with a pea shooter on testing. So we've gone from literally nowhere. New Jersey's now one of the top handful of tested states in America, and our long-term care facilities were and remain one of our, if not number one, priorities to get folks tested. I can't again speak to this gentleman, but her question's a good one. You need to cohort patients, healthy, negative tested from those who are unhealthy or positive tested. Again, I don't know this particular situation. I will tell you this. I've asked our Attorney General to launch an investigation of all long-term care facilities, including the veterans' homes. So we will find out what happened and where there were protocols that were not followed.
If I may, before I let you go, just press you on the question. Why didn't you, because I remember talking to you about the extra beds that were going to be offered for New Jersey on the Comfort and in the Javits Center. Why didn't you say, let's move some of these individuals in these hard-hit nursing homes to those facilities?
Yeah, they didn't go to Javits or Comfort, or we've got three field stations that I want to give the Army Corps a shout out who helped us set up. But they were cohorted. I just don't know the timing or the situation of her husband. And by the way, he's passed. God rest his soul. So there's nothing we could do now to get him back. Again, we cohorted patients. A lot of facilities did.
He survived cancer and he survived a heart attack in Korea, but he did not make it through the situation in this nursing home. And God bless him, as you say. And we hope that you know, these facilities continue to get the extra care and attention that they need. Governor Murphy, thank you very much. Good luck in your efforts to open up, and we hope to speak with you again soon. Thank you, sir.
Good to be back with you, Martha. Thank you.